Okay, so we have completed Comfortably Numb, and now we're at number 20, which is The Show Must Go On. Seems like I remember I said something about that Incomfortably Numb because, you just do what you have to do and get through the show. So here we are. The show must go on. Um, let's see how this goes.
The show must go on.
That's just a short little song. I guess I need to go back and listen to it again here. In some ways, this is throwing me back to the first part of the album, where, especially the song Mother, because again, it's sort of asking questions and looking back to the parents as an influence or an authority, some trusted figure. It's also interesting to me that it's referencing Pa, because we know that his father was no longer in the picture in reality. But I guess that sets us up to think of this as being, again, a reflection on the past, as well as a sort of sitting back and taking stock of what has happened in life up until now. This question, this statement, I didn't mean to let them take away my soul. Who took away this person's soul? That's how he feels about it, but was it really somebody else taking away his soul? Because here he is behind the wall still. He's intentionally shut himself off. In a way, he has back to goodbye world. It's a sort of self execution, a suicide, a destruction of one's soul, to cut oneself off, because there's no way of nurturing and growing and expanding. And with such things, we're either growing or we're shrinking. There is no static ground, at least in my opinion. I want to listen to this again. It's short, so I hope you'll let me indulge myself here. I'm just going to start from the beginning and go through this once more. didn't notice that at first, but now, coming back the second time around, again I am noticing this little question interval. Bum, bum. It's almost like he's telling us ahead of time, musically, that there are going to be some pretty important questions happening here. Let's see if you can hear that. Yeah, there it is. Let's back up a little more so you can hear it. That's the question. Another thing that gives this a sort of questioning lift to it is the set of chords that's being used. I guess I'll dig into this a bit more in the in-depth analysis, but you notice that we are starting on the 1 chord. And then this vocal background is taking us to the 4 chord. And if we go 1 to 4, it naturally gives a sort of lift, which is not highly assertive. It's softer. And I know this progression is used in all different contexts, but it's just another little musical feature which is helping set the atmosphere here for this context. And it works. It's nice. And here, must the show go on? And then there's this very inevitable bum, 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 bum. In the bass here, you're hearing those bass notes as if it's unavoidable. The show is going to go on. It can't be changed. It's there, and there's really no escape. Let's hear that.
Must the show go on? There must be some mistake. I didn't mean to let them take away my soul. Am I too old? Is it too late?
And such a string of questions coming rapidly there. It's like it's all coming out. All these things. Not in any particular order. Just something's wrong, something's wrong. Can I get out of here? Is there a way out? Is it possible? And then we hear this. Bum, bum.
Where's the feeling gone? Will I remember the song? The show must go on.
I guess I especially like these last 2 questions. Where has the feeling gone? And will I remember the songs? Well, if the show must go on, of course you're going to remember the songs in a mechanical sort of way. But it's about the feeling and the depth and the ability to speak through your performance. And it has to be more than just a performance in order to have any sort of significant impact and content. I guess this is taking us again to look at his life as a performer. And again, what I read, that this has multiple layers of connection to different things. It's in that way, it's quite a work of art, because in order to make something speak on so many different levels is beautiful. So as an artist, I guess I can relate to this a bit. Where has the feeling gone? Sometimes I perform a piece or I study a piece so much that it's so ingrained in me, I can do it on autopilot. And it's a very easy thing to do sometimes, to slip into autopilot in a performance. And that is something you never want to let happen. And it's not just about that, but where is the joy in relating to an audience? Where's the connection with an audience? Not just about the music itself, but is there a common meeting point that can be built between the performer and the audience? And those are all challenges for every performer. Every time one goes out to share whatever gift they have to offer. Because it needs to be a sharing, and it needs to be a gift, and it needs to be a connection. But very often it's hard for that to happen. Other things in our lives can be playing into it, and we might be distracted or tired or stressed or any number of things. And all those things build walls around us, create barriers that we have to struggle very hard to push to the side if we're going to maintain this connection. Of course, it goes beyond the performance world. It's anytime we interact with someone, it's going to be the same challenge. Are we going to really see that person in front of us? Are we going to really be willing to let down our self-defenses and connect? This brings me to something which Vlad tells me, because he's from a different part of the world, and he's not used to American culture in many ways, and he's always a little bit disturbed and put off by the way we Americans are so publicly friendly and superficially connected. Like, we went to a grocery store, and the cashier was chatting and asking questions about life and how do we feel, and how's our day going, and have a nice day. And we got out of there and his eyes were this wide, and he's like, why did she have to be so artificial? She doesn't care. I'm one person in a whole row, and she's not going to remember me 2 days from now, 2 weeks from now. There's no reason for me to be sharing this kind of information with her. Okay, I don't want to get too far off track here. But my point is, it's easy to be artificial. It's also possible to be very sincere. And whether we are interacting with a cashier in a store, or the postman, or a nephew, or a parent, or an audience, or a friend, it's not about what's happening on the surface. It's not about the show. It's about the sincerity and the feeling beneath it, which belongs to whatever circumstance and relationship is in that moment. And so that's a lot to say right off the bat, and I haven't even gotten to the in-depth study of this musically, but those are just some things that are circulating in my mind as I'm going through this experience of listening to the wall and coming to this moment. I guess I just wanted to say all of that. So, but that was my first listen, first and second listen, I went through it twice, of The Show Must Go On. And now let's see what's coming next.